Thank you so much, Deborah. It's always a pleasure to be here. Good afternoon, everyone. Are you? Oh, thank you. Are you guys like down after lunch? By a show of hands, let me see who wants to make 2017 the best year ever in real estate. Woo! That's it. That's exactly it. I'm going to show you just quickly what you can do to improve your business, and hopefully you will apply some of the things that I tell you today, because I guarantee they will definitely be good for your business and will improve it. Now, 2017 is the year of connections, so you have to pay special attention to what you're doing with marketing. I know that we've been taught to market a certain way, but I'm going to show you little tricks where you can really tune in and make it the year the best ever. Oh, there it is. So it's all about marketing smarter. It's that simple. Okay, we've been taught in real estate school from day one that we have to blanket market, right? So blanket marketing is marketing to everybody. But really, we don't go in tune to why we're marketing that way. It's extremely expensive. And the result, if you get a 2% return on that blanket marketing, you're really lucky. So listen, if you have money to spend on marketing and you don't want to target market, go ahead and blanket. You know, a lot of us do blanket marketing and it works. But if you're a little bit smarter about that marketing, you'll get definitely a lot more business. So it's all about quality over quantity, always. How many in the room know who you need to market to? Raise your hands. I mean, that's scary. I just saw maybe if I say 20 hands. So you need to identify your perfect client. Not only your perfect client, you need to go back into your marketing. I do this exercise when you leave today. Grab the business you did last year and really analyze where each client came from. Did they come from Facebook? Did they come from a friend? Did they come from past business? So really look at where those clients came from. Not only where they came from, but what type of client you dealt with. I'm talking generational, I'm talking cultural. Really study who that client was. And out of all of those, I want you to go even further and say, I worked with 20 clients last year, but this was my favorite. And then I want you to tune in into that favorite client. So then you can go further into that and say, where online is that client? So if you're working with people that are retiring, for example, you know for a fact they're not going to be using Snapchat, okay? You know that the older generation now loves Facebook, you know, so that's a great place to be. But then if you're working with millennials, you know that the expiring content is super popular with millennials. So you really study into not only who you want to work with, but who you think you're going to do business with. And yes, of course, we like to go into areas and farm areas within your marketplace, because that's the way that we market as realtors. But go a little bit in depth into that. Instead of sending the 2,000 just listed cards, how can you get better business from sending something that's a little bit more quality, in tune? And this is key. Stay off the platforms where your clients are not. Okay? Because it's a waste of time. Of course, if you love it and you know psychologically, like for example, I love Instagram. The ROI in Instagram for me is almost nil, but I love Instagram. So hey, I'm on Instagram because I love it, not because I'm getting business from it. Now, I said 2017 was the year of connections. This is where it's important. With all the election stuff that we went through and all the fake news and the bombardment of information that we got that was just negative, we have gone into hyper-tuning. Every single one of us has gone into cleansing our social media, our news, our TV, everything we do online. How many agree? Okay, so it's important for you not to create noise. Okay, it's important for you to look at your Facebook page and see how many times do I say, I'm a realtor, look at me, I'm the best top producer ever, I got a new listing, over and over and over and over again. When the truth is that you need to make connections. You know, without connections, you're not going to have business. And here's the crystal ball. What's new in 2017 when it comes to social media? And there's tons of articles about where social media is heading. And it's important to know, you know, and be ahead of the curve and see what's going to happen. The most important one is going to be social messaging and expiring content. Now, I, for example, because I'm not a millennial, I have tested over and over again Snapchat, for example. If the content is expiring, why is it good for me? What do I do with it, right? But guess what? If you're a millennial out there, I'm sure I talked to you after this presentation and you'll let me know why it works. The good news is that a lot of these platforms are realizing that there is money to be made in this expiring content, and they're now beginning to allow ads in these platforms. Okay, so look, I mean, this is coming. You're going to see in Snapchat, you're going to see ads, the potential ability for you to place an ad on these expiring content where millennials are. Demographics, it can't get more important than that. Okay, when you do that analysis that I asked you to do at the end of the day, I need you to look what demographics you work better with. They feel more connected to you. Okay, and that's where then you need to look at which platforms I need to go into. I spoke before about if you work with millennials, you know, Snapchat is the place to be. I find, for example, when Instagram came up with the storyline, you know, and it disappears within 24 hours. It's disappearing content that for me gets more eyes. Okay? Again, look forward to ads coming up into these. And yes, they are disruptive, but at the same time, they make an impact. So I do a lot of A/B testing with my marketing, so that means just test. Test what works, what doesn't work for you. And again, authenticity, connections. Okay, in Facebook, instead of saying, look at me, I'm a realtor, I have a new listing, you know, say something important about that listing. Oh my God, look at this amazing pool. Wouldn't you love to be there, you know, in the summer when it's 100 degrees out? Or, you know, try to engage people. Try to go a step further and call out and tag people that you think can create conversation. The funny thing about it is when social media started, whatever, 11 years ago, the purists out there, we would do this, be true, be authentic, stop, you know, posting a million posts that make no sense. And then everyone went away from that. And then we started doing all this blanket marketing on social media. Funny enough, we're going back to that. We are so tired of being bombarded by the same news, by fake news, that we're using filters. You know, we have spam filters. Now we block people on Facebook. We do all kinds of things. So if you have that annoying salesperson that is constantly putting sales stuff on your Facebook wall, you pretty much block them. You don't want to hear what their message is. So keep that in mind. Are people listening to what you have to say? Are you creating noise? Are you giving something of value? And I didn't change this slide. I work on a Mac, and funny enough, when I transferred it to a PowerPoint, it actually cluttered my declutter slide, and I left it like that. I thought it was pretty ironic. So declutter your message, okay? I think Deborah and I were talking about, you know, people doing certain things, but they do it over and over and over again, you know, and it gets to a point where you're overwhelmed and you don't want to hear what they have to say. So be picky of how many times you use that tool that you like. Live video will be hot. It's already hot. When I arrived here this morning, I saw, I don't know how many people with Facebook Live walking around the room and talking to people. This is where you need to be careful. You need to be careful because I know for a fact that I don't want to see one more Facebook Live video from certain people. You're overdoing it, right? So be picky. Be picky. When am I going to use live video? Who is my audience when I'm using it? You know, when I'm here today as a realtor and doing this conference, what is that live video for? Is it because I'm recruiting agents or because I'm selling real estate? So be picky. If you're recruiting agents and you're a manager and this is the event, I think it's great. But I don't think a client would be interested in you going to a conference called Rock the Market. But that's me. If you think I'm wrong, come talk to me afterwards. Okay, I use Periscope a lot. The reason I use Periscope is because it's linked, you can link it to Twitter or Facebook, for example. And I have a really great audience on Twitter. So if I say I'm live, my Twitter audience comes in and tunes in. I use it sparingly, again, you know. I do walkthroughs through properties when a client is late or after I show a property. I use it for open houses. So it's a matter, and I did one for a rooftop that I had listing on Lincoln Road, and I get an international audience, which is so exciting, actually talking to you. Russia, England, you get so many people who identify themselves on these live video platforms. The pay to play, that's the game, right? Facebook has the #1 and most effective way of marketing right now, and it's because you can really go in tune into that perfect client, where they are, what they like, how old they are, what they're not only generational, but for example, you can choose golfers. People, if that's your thing, you can go into people that golf and put a message out there, and it's cheap, right? So there's so many great ways that you can do an ad through Facebook. And every other platform will start copying Facebook and seeing the advantages you can get through that as well. Instant gratification is what we're about. You know, this is the year of connections. This is the year of marketing smarter. And you need to be aware that the client wants it now. The response needs to be now. So when it comes to automation should definitely be about a quick response. I'm not available right now, but I'll get right back to you. You have to be careful with automation because then you lose authenticity. But it's key for you to be able to answer to the clients immediately. Every slide I do, I end with the same exact thing. Please answer your phone. Let's go back to the basics. We're realtors. We need to get along with each other. We need to connect with each other, and we need to answer the phone to be able to run a great business. Here's my contact information. Please, any one of you wants to contact me, I'm always available. So enjoy the rest of the conference. We have some amazing speakers coming up that you're going to really, really enjoy. And thank you.